Hello everyone. Today in this session we will discuss about changes around us. Now we will discuss what is change, types of changes, slow and fast changes, desirable and undesirable changes, reversible and irreversible changes, periodic and non-periodic changes, and finally physical and chemical changes. So now in this session we will discuss about all these topics. And first, coming to what is change? Every day we observe changes around us. So, definitely, if you observe, means so many changes are happening surrounding us. Some examples are the change of day and night. So, of course, two changes easily we can see day and night. And ripening of fruits. So we can see whenever the fruits are in the state of raw state, then if it changes to ripen, from raw to ripen, that is also one type of change. And rainfall, etc. So now you just see, now the environment is okay, cool. But after some time, if you see the rainfall is happening, then rainfall is also one type of change. The change is that transition of any substance from one form to another form. Next, coming to the types of changes, in that the first one is slow and fast changes. Coming to the slow changes are those which take a long time
to occur. That means these are also a type of changes, but it needs too much of time to identify that. So, the examples are the germination of seed to form plant. So, here in this picture, you can see first the seeds are there, and there needs a too much of time for germinating of the seeds and to grow up to the length of the plant. And next, even you can consider the growth of child into adult, it takes some years. And even the rusting of iron also needs some months. So that is the reason the changes which needs too much of time, that changes are considered as slow changes. Then coming to fast changes. Fast changes takes less time to occur or occur instantaneously. That means there doesn't requires too much of time. Sometimes it can happen within seconds also. If you consider the example bursting of balloon, of course it doesn't require too much of time. Burning of paper also. So as these changes do not require too much of time, they will occur very fastly. So these changes are called fast changes.
Then, coming to desirable changes. So, there are some changes which occur as we wish. That means we will want some changes to happen. As we want some changes to happen, so that is the reason these type of changes are called desirable changes. For example, formation of curd from milk. From the milk, we want to convert into curd, which we are using the curd also. So that type of change is called desirable change. And even if you consider the formation of manure from cow dung and dead plants. So from the cow dung and as well as from the dead plants, after they decompose, they will convert into manure, and we are using these manure for the growth of the plants. So these type of the changes we want. So that type of changes we want. So these type of changes are called desirable changes. Next, coming to undesirable changes. Simply we can say which we don't want. So coming to the definition, there are some changes which do not occur as per our wish. That means we don't want to happen that changes, but still it will happen. So these type of changes are called undesirable changes. So for example, earthquakes. Of course, we don't want earthquakes to happen, right? And even excessive heat in due to rise in temperature in summers and breaking of glass. So if you take summers, we don't want to bear that much of high temperatures also, right? We don't want that high temperatures. And even if you take any glass, and that glass also we don't want to break, right? So these are some undesirable changes. Then coming to reversible changes. If a change can be reversed, then it is called reversible changes. That means both forward directions and backward directions both should be there. For example, on cooling water, to the freezing point, it changes to ice. That means if you take the water and just think that if you keep in the refrigerator, then what will happen? The water is converted into solid ice cubes. And the ice changes back into water on heating. That means if you take that ice cube and if you start heating it, then the solid ice cube will convert into liquid water. Then, coming to irreversible changes. There are some changes which cannot be reversed. Such changes are called irreversible. Even though if you want to reverse the change also, it won't be possible. So such that type of changes in which it cannot be reversed, even how much conditions if you change also, that type of changes are called irreversible changes. Example, growth of child into an adult and then from an adult to an old man. So, for example, if you take this example, child will grown up into adult, but that grown up adult cannot be come back as a child, right? So, these are not reversible changes. So, it will comes under irreversible. Then, coming to physical change, a change in which the form or appearance of matter changes but not its composition. That means only the form will change. When we can say any substance undergoes physical change means whenever there is a changes in the state as well as the change of shape and the dissolving. So the state will change. That means, for example, if you consider ice cube into water, so that is one change. Even if there is a change in the shape, then also we can consider it as a physical change. Or else if the solid is dissolved in a given liquid, then of course that is also one type of physical change. For example, if you take sugar, it is present initially in the solid state, but whenever if we add it into the water, then it is dissolved and it is converted as a sugar solution. That means here the solid sugar is converting into liquid sugar solution. And if you take some changes which are happening in the states, that means the given mentioned states, all these are changes also we can consider under the physical change. That means melting. The first thing is melting. Melting is nothing but the solid state will convert into the liquid state. For example, if you take the ice cube, if you heat it, the ice cube will can converts into the water. So here the ice cube is melting into the water, but both states are of course water. Next, freezing. Freezing is nothing but the conversion of liquid state to solid state. For example, take water as an example and keep in the refrigerator, then what we will get? We will get ice cubes. Ice cubes are present in solid state. That means the liquid water is converting into solid state. So liquid water is converting into solid state ice cube. Here the ice cube is also one form of the water and the liquid state nothing but water. So both are same composition only. Next, coming to vaporization. That means from the liquid to gas. If you take the water and if you start heating, we can see the liquid water is converting into the form of water vapor, nothing but which is present in the gaseous state. So here also in liquid state water will be there, and even in the water vapor, that is gaseous state, also water is there. Next, coming to the condensation. Condensation is nothing but the conversion of gas into liquid, and sublimation is the conversion of solid into gas. Or even if you take deposition, deposition is nothing but the process of conversion of gas to solid. So whatever the process if you take, the composition won't change, only there will be a changes in the physical states. Next, even we can see the physical changes can also be happen even if they undergoes the changes in their shape also. So if you see here, the matter can change the shape either by cutting, tearing, grinding, crumpling, bending. So because of all these process also, we can see the shapes will changes. And next thing, even by dissolving also the physical changes we can see.
As we said, the sugar dissolving in the water converting into sugar solution, that means solid into liquid. So that is also one type of physical change. Then coming to chemical change, a change in which the composition of a matter changes and new substances are formed. That means here the composition will changes, that means the content present in the matter will changes, as well as we can see new substances will form, and it cannot be turned back into the original substance. So for example, if you take the crackers, if you burn it, they will brighten. After that, from that brightening sparks, we cannot get it back the original crackers. So once it done means we cannot get it back. So these type of changes are called chemical changes. So now if you see some examples, burned wood. If wood will burn, we will get ash. From the ash, we cannot bring back the wood. Next, the same thing, cooked food. Initially, the food will be in raw condition. If we cook it, it will convert as a cooked food. From the cooked food, we cannot bring back the raw food. So this is one example. Next thing, the leaves turning in fall. So the leaves, whatever fallen down, they cannot get it back. They cannot go back to attach the tree. And even the spoiled food. Once the food is spoiled, we cannot bring back the fresh food from the spoiled food. Then coming to periodic changes. The changes which occur again and again after fixed intervals of time are known as periodic changes. That means they have to repeat. Simply we can say the changes which will repeats. Once it will happen means by the next time again it has to happen. So like this, the changes, if they happen at regular times, then we can say that changes as periodic changes. For example, the change of day and night. We all know 12 hours it will be daytime and 12 hours it will be almost night time, right? So once the sunset happens means the moon will come, and once that means the night will start. So once the night will go means again the sun will come. So this is the continuation process, repeating process. One more example, a heartbeat. We all know the heartbeats as lub dub, right? So once lub sound if we hear means then dub sound will come. After dub, lub dub. So like this continuation cycle will be there. Next, coming to non-periodic changes. There are some changes which do not repeat themselves at regular intervals. That means they won't repeat. Okay, so in the periodic changes we saw already repeatedly it will happen, but in non-periodic it won't repeat. Even you cannot predict when they will reoccur. That means we can't say when it will happen. For example, earthquake. For example, just think that 1 week back earthquake came. So now again we didn't predict also when the earthquake again one more time when it will happen. Like that's the same thing, the train accidents. Just think that around 10 days back or 1 week back the train accident occurred. Again when it will occur means we can't say. Even sneezing also one of the non-periodic change. For example, now if I sneeze, again when I will sneeze, I cannot predict. So these type of changes which we cannot repeat at regular times is called non-periodic changes.